meeting of the Westminster Mayor and Carroll County. The council meets here at City Hall on the second and fourth Mondays of every month. Please note that council meetings, although open to the public here at City Hall, are also available and streamed live on the city's YouTube page, as well as the Community Media Center channel and website. Now we're going to do every meeting with the pledge to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. The republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As a courtesy to everyone, please take a moment to silence your cell phones or any other electronic device with you that might contribute. Copies of tonight's agenda and the entire information packet that the council will be using are available online on the website, and there are hard copies of the agenda up here in the front of the room for those who are present. I'm going to note one change to the agenda. We're pulling item C off of the consent calendar and moving that to the new business. And now so we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. We have minutes from the meeting of the mayor and council on August 14th and from the council work session of the same date. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. A motion by Mr. Dayhoff and a second by Mr. Kavachi. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it, the ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Thank you. Two items remain on the consent calendar, but I have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And a motion by Ms. Gilbert and a second by Mr. Dayhoff. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it, the ayes have it. Consent calendar is approved. Report from the mayor, Dr. Becker.
All right, thank you, Council President Pecoraro. There's been a lot going on over the last 2 weeks. We celebrated the opening of 2 businesses on Monday, August 21st. Collision Course opened up their cafe at Tech Court. The cafe is located in the FR Conversions building, and they're open all day for carryout, and they have cafeteria seating if you are an employee at FR Conversions. I know I speak for myself, but I'm sure the rest of the council shares the sentiment that we cannot wait for their Main Street location to open so we can enjoy their fantastic food downtown. On Tuesday, August 22nd, Hyperspace Rocket Designs and Tea Bar celebrated their opening in the town mall. Councilmember Gilbert was there with me. This is one of the most unique shops I think I have ever been in. There are model rockets and engines, other sorts of models, paints, wooden models, train parts, STEM activities, and a tea bar. And I've known Rhiannon for quite some time because she also vends at the downtown Westminster Farmers Market, where she has a booth with her tea. So definitely a really unique, cool shop to check out. And I know, sorry if I'm taking any of your things, but Councilmember Gilbert had talked to her about hooking up with some of the Boy Scouts, some of the scouts for the Pinewood Derbies, and a few other things that happen in the community. On Thursday, the 24th, I attended the kickoff of the Kindness Stroll, sponsored by the Action for Kindness, hosted and thrown by our Rec and Parks Department, who were just amazing that evening. There was ice cream and cookies, lots of activities for kids that went on. This is a unique stroll. It takes place over the course of a month, and so it goes until September 25th. You can tour the downtown area. You can vote on your favorite Be Kind sign, which is hosted in some businesses, as well as read the kindness statements that are made by members of the community. And I'm happy to say that the city is one of the sponsors of this event. On Saturday, I officially welcomed 427 first-year McDaniel students to Westminster. The weather couldn't have been more perfect. We had a great day. The students walked down Main Street from the college. I met them in front of Jeannie Bird's and the admin building, and then accompanied them to the library. After some brief introductory remarks, they were set loose to explore Westminster. And for the second year in a row, the city provided each student with a $10 gift voucher in their bag for the day for downtown merchants. And so Downtown's always really packed for about 2 hours until they have to be back up at the campus after we let them loose. And it was really great to see them going up to the Boys and Girls Club, right? Meeting them up there, learning about some of the service opportunities that it could do, buying lunch at places, going into Cultivated, Rudolph Girls, the businesses up and down Main Street. It's always a great day. On yesterday, myself, several council members attended the annual end of the summer concert by the Westminster Municipal Band at Belgrove Square. And this is always my favorite end of the summer event in Westminster. It's always a great evening of contemporary music, historical pieces, and patriotic music. Just over an hour and a half ago, hosted a community meeting for residents and businesses concerning the water main replacement that's going to begin on September 14th at Main and Longwell, and then work its way down to Pennsylvania Avenue. And we'll keep businesses and residents abreast of any changes that take place to that. This is, of course, a long project, but it'll start and I have no doubt be managed incredibly well over the next several months. School starts for students next week. So just a reminder, please be aware of children and young adults at bus stops and driving on the roads. The buses will be back in full force in the city as students make their way back to school for the beginning of the school year. And then just one last upcoming note, on Tuesday, September 5th, so this is next Tuesday at 5:30, I'm hosting a community meeting concerning the upcoming work at the clubhouse at Wakefield Valley. And we will meet in the large meeting room in the basement of 45 West Main. There you go.
All right. Thanks very much, Mayor. And thanks for continuing to do the partnership with the Canada College. I think that this outreach that we're doing, bringing the students into town and we're working with the administration is really just incredible. So I'm glad we're doing
it. It strengthens that connection that we have. As you said, we build off each other. Right? So that's great. Thank you.
We've been the goal of the cities for a long time. So I think it's finally coming to fruition. That's really good. Reports from committees. We'll begin with our liaison to the Carroll County Arts Council, Mr. Dayhoff.
No report this evening, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. The Economic and Community Development Committee, Mr. Hoff.
No report this time.
All right, thank you. Finance Committee, I'll just mention that at our last meeting, Finance Committee walked through with the staff the draft changes for the election code, and had a good conversation on that. We've been discussing this, as you all know, for some months after the last two elections where we've gone through experiencing the changes were introduced a couple of years ago. Now we've had some experience with them. We can fine tune those a bit. So we've worked through that. We bring that package to you all in September. The plan is to have a work session prior to the formal introduction. So you all get a chance to review it and think about it and have some conversation about it informally before it's actually introduced. And then the goal is to get it all brought before the council formally, have the discussions we need to have, regular sessions, and then have it adopted before the end of the calendar. So look forward to moving that along and getting everybody's input on that. Also, just want to mention that we're moving forward with rebidding city auditor's contract. You'll be seeing that, I think, in sometime in September as well. So moving that forward as well. So that's it for the Finance Committee. For the Personnel Committee, I have no report. Public Safety Committee, Mr. Kavachi.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. Police recruit Jacob Everhart will graduate from the Police Academy on Friday. He will be assigned to the Patrol Bureau, where he will begin field training and evaluation program. On August 15th, 4 new police recruits started employment with the Westminster Police Department in preparation for the September 18th start date of the Police Academy at the Carroll County Sheriff's Office. Additionally, new police dispatcher Elizabeth Burns started her field training in the Communications Division. So that's real good news. On August 18th, members of the Westminster Police Department attended the Westminster Boys and Girls Club First Responder Appreciation event at City Park. And I know, I think Councilwoman Gilbert and I were both there. There may have been a few others that were there, but I know I saw Ann. that's always a nice event that they put on where they play some games, they have lunch for the officers, and they get a chance to interact with the students and the staff. So it's a very positive opportunity for these young folks, the Boys and Girls Club, to have a very positive interaction with police officers and see that they are people and they can have fun with that. Lastly, I wanted to I guess, publicly give a note of appreciation or commendation to some police officers. I can't go into detail regarding the event, but it was a potential for significant injury or even death or multiple deaths that could have occurred. But these officers took incredible actions through their training that the department provides them under the guidance of the chief, and gives them the training to deal with a situation like this that could have turned incredibly ugly. And it did not. It was resolved without anyone being hurt or killed. And I think these officers deserve an opportunity to have their names read in the meeting for the wonderful work that they did. If any of you have any questions specifically about the incident, I can share them with you individually, but not publicly. Lieutenant Steve Arnold, Lieutenant Timothy Reif, Sergeant Alan Ecker, PFC Kevin Chanaki, PFC William Lash, and Officer, I need my glasses. I thought I'd make it through it. Dana Jackson, sorry, a little too small. I wanted to publicly read their names off. They received a letter of commendation from the chief and the deputy chief. And again, they did an amazing job saving lives, and we're grateful and appreciative. And of course, that's the type of thing that nobody ever hears about because it didn't become an incident. It was on, the Baltimore stations or even national news. So that's it, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kawaki. Public Works, Ms. Gilbert.
Yes, Mr. President, I have a couple of things. I want to urge and kind of give an educational statement to a lot of our city residents. State, Carroll County, and city are urging residents to voluntarily reduce their water usage. Westminster, as well as most of the surrounding area, although Westminster particularly, we must have a dome over our city or something, has experienced decreased rainfall over the last few months. Actually, I think the rain comes in and goes north and south and just keeps us dry. Water conservation is always important, but it is to a higher level right now, and we need to try to be cognizant of the water that we're using. We're asking residents and non-residents of the city's water system to be mindful of their water usage. Some ideas for conservation during this time are: limit your outdoor water use, including the watering of your lawns and landscaping. Eliminate the use of sprinklers and other automatic watering devices. If you really find the need to water your plants outside, think about recycling your air conditioning water or using your dehumidifier water. Use the dishwasher and washing machines only with full loads. Right now, every drop is counting. In addition to that, as far as Public Works, as the mayor stated, she had a community meeting about an hour and a half ago. Main Street water main replacement project starts on September 14th. The key points are workdays will be Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. All roads will remain open with two-way traffic during the construction. No parking areas will be kept to a minimum. Sidewalks will remain open and water disruption will be minimal and coordinated with the owners. That is all I have for that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Good advice on the water. We're capturing the rinse water from the washing machine.
I did not think about that one.
To water the plants because we invested a little bit in some landscaping and we don't want it to die. So we're doing that.
Yeah.
So there are ways to capture water that otherwise just go down the drain. So
Yeah, I have the hose that comes out of your main air conditioner. If you rig it right, you can put it into a bucket or reuse that.
Yeah, right.
You get 3, 4, sometimes 5 buckets during the really, really hot seasons. Come on, let's go for it.
All right, thank you. And recreational parks.
Well, that is me also, and I have several things for that. As the mayor mentioned, the kindness stroll was on Thursday, August 24th. The recreation staff assisted with the planning and production of the kickoff party celebrating the inaugural kindness stroll. This event included music, food, crafts, games, delicious ice cream, and really cute cookies, just saying. Plus opening remarks from Tina Thomas and Eric Miller, founders of the Be Kind movement. The kindness stroll is held throughout downtown Westminster until September 25th. Guests are invited to admire over 20 student-painted Be Kind signs on display in the windows of local merchants. Participants are encouraged to show their kindness and support the worthy movement by voting for their favorite Be Kind sign. $1 equals 1 vote. Voting can be done online at actionforkindness.org or by visiting the signs on the displays and scanning the corresponding QR codes. Fundraise support goes to local organization Action for Kindness, Boys and Girls Club, the Carroll County Arts Council, and Find Your Purpose. Along with that, as our Parks and Recreation Department is extremely busy all the time, the Parks and Recreation Department concluded its summer camp season on Friday, August 25th. Summer camp operated for 11 consecutive weeks and served, get this, 1,500 children.
Wow.
Over the course of the summer, 596 children attended before and after care. 750 children attended camp. 110 children between the age of 13 and 15 served as counselors in training. Maybe they'll become counselors in the adult world one day. Summer camp also offers many teenagers and young adults a valuable summer employment opportunity. The City of Westminster Summer Camp Program employed 18 high school and college-aged individuals as camp counselors, future social workers of America. In addition to that, the Pooch Pool Party. Grab your pooch and a leash and a good throw toy. The Recreation Department is also prepping for the Pooch Pool Party. Annually, the Wednesday after Labor Day, the Westminster Municipal Pool literally goes to the dogs from 4 to 7 on September 6th. I am sorry I'm missing that. Just saying, I am not going to be in town. All well-behaved, licensed, and vaccinated dogs are invited to swim at the pool. This event is free, however, donations are requested. All donations support the Carroll County Humane Society, and the first 50 dog owners through the gate will receive a doggy bag filled with goodies. A local vendor will also be on site selling wholesome treats, and free raffle tickets will be handed out upon entry for several great door prizes. And if that wasn't enough, they are prepping for Fall Fest that I will allow Ms. Gruber to highlight later in her report. Beginning September 21st with the parade, and will continue on through the 24th of September. And that is all I.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Technology Committee, Mr. Dayhoff.
No report, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dayhoff. Now is the time for council comments and discussion when council members have the opportunity to mention anything else that's on their minds. It is either it's not on the agenda elsewhere. And we will begin with Mr. Kavachi.
I have nothing to say.
Thank you, Mr. Kavachi. Mr. Dayhoff.
Oh, I was thinking of mentioning, after the collision course at Tech Court, I had the opportunity to get a tour of FR conversions. That is a worldwide concern. It's right here in Westminster. His other plant is in Budapest. He had an opportunity to go to New Jersey. New Jersey really courted him aggressively, and he decided to come to Westminster. Brings a lot of jobs, a lot of really good jobs to Westminster, and he wants to expand. So that was good stuff. Of course, the food was awesome. I think that's all my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert.
Most of my comments the mayor has already mentioned, but I do want to extend a congratulations to Tony and Ashley on Collision Course Cafe, and I'm quite excited that they are literally across from my office building for my day job.
That's true.
So I'm looking forward to eating there often when I'm in the office. The mayor did her remarks about the hyperspace location. It is a great niche store. Anybody with hobbies, there it is. You've got to go there. And the other businesses that also had ribbon cuttings were the Fine Line Medical, Maryland Print House, and the mobile unit at the health department this week. Lots of businesses were opening up all over Westminster. So congratulations to all of them and best of luck.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. Mr. Thomas.
No comment tonight.
All right, thank you. Just two things I wanted to mention that haven't been mentioned yet. One is note the passing of Jack Lyburn, county's longtime Director of Economic Development, somebody the city worked with frequently over his many years in that role. Very sad to have passed the way he did, and extended our condolences to his family. And secondly, on a more positive note, this is something I don't often get to do because usually Mr. Dayhoff talks about all the fire department things, but I found out recently that Charlie Simpson, longtime Westminster firefighter, was elected vice president of the Maryland State Firemen's Association. He's going to be the president after a 2-year stint as vice president, so that's exciting for Westminster and one of our own leading the State Firemen's Association. So congratulations to Mr. Simpson. And move on now to ordinances and resolutions. The first item is adoption of ordinance number 2023-08, Water and Sewer Allocation Plan Authority, an ordinance of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster, amending the City of Westminster Code, Chapter 124, Sewers and Sewage, Article 5, Allocations and Extensions, Section 124-22, Allocation Plan, and Chapter 160, Water, Article 1, Potable Water, Section 160-14, Allocation Policy, provide for the Mayor and Common Council may, by resolution, delegate the authority to act on applications for water and wastewater allocations to a standing committee of the legislative body. Mr. Deepak.
Thank you, and good evening. The Mayor and Common Council introduced ordinance 2023-08 on August 14th, 2023. The ordinance is intended to address proposed revisions to the water and sewer allocation policy and master distribution chart that would allow the Mayor and Common Council to delegate authority to a standing committee to transfer water and sewer within the master distribution chart from the proposed general water fund and general sewer fund to help streamline the allocation process. With that, staff is recommending that ordinance 2308 as introduced to the Mayor and Common Council on August 14th, 2023 be adopted. I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you. Let's get a motion. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2023-08?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion.
The motion by Mr. Gilbert, motion by Mr. Pop, second by Ms. Gilbert. I don't think I've done that.
No, that was the first.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we want to do a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The ayes see that. We have it. And the ordinance is adopted. Adoption of resolution number 23-10, Water and Sewer Allocation Policy, a resolution of the Mayor and Common Council of Westminster, amending the adopted 2018-2024 Water and Sewer Allocation Policy and accompanying master distribution chart. Once again, we'll turn to Mr. Deepak.
Thank you. This one might take a little bit longer, so I apologize. The City Code Section 124.22 and 160.14 authorize the Mayor and Common Council to establish a water and sewer allocation policy by resolution. On March 26, 2018, the Mayor and Common Council adopted a new 2018 to 2024 water and sewer allocation policy and master distribution chart. Over the years, there have been 6 amendments to the policy and chart. Staff has met with the Economic and Community Development Committee, or ECDC, at their June 12th and July 20th, 2023 meetings and introduced updates to the policy and chart for an initial period of from 2023 to 2025. At this time, there's approximately 18,096 gallons of water, gallons per day of water remaining under the 2018-2024 master distribution chart. Recently, MDE approved an additional 150,000 gallons per day of water from the existing Gazelle well, increasing the total amount of allocatable water to 168,096. The ECDC was presented a pending water and sewer allocation applications document that lists these WSA applications in the queue for allocation until such time water becomes available, and places these applications into 2 project categories: current water allocations and future water allocations. The ECDC supported providing the current water allocation project's immediate allocation, which amounts to approximately 19,504 gallons. And this is an attachment 2 of your staff report that you can see these applications that are pending. The ECDC was then presented an update to the master distribution chart for an initial period of 2023 to 2025, with the ability through the carryover of water allocation to extend beyond 2025. By removing the 19,504 gallons of water for current water allocation projects, the 2023 to 2025 master distribution chart proposes to allocate the remaining 148,592 gallons of water at an average of 49,531 gallons of water per year in 2023, 2024, and 2025. And also to remove or rename certain allocation categories from the 2018-2024 master distribution chart and add new categories. These revisions are highlighted in the report. The primary addition to the updated 2023-2025 chart is the inclusion of the general water fund and general sewer fund categories. These general fund categories provide a significant amount of unallocated water and sewer that may be transferred to any other category. The multiple revisions to the master distribution chart categories are intended to provide a more user-friendly format and to streamline the process. The ECDC supported the update to the master distribution chart using the 49,531 gallons per day average over the 3 years and the amended water and sewer categories, as well as the transfer of water and sewer from the general fund and the general water and sewer fund. The ECDC was then updated on current allocation practice and processes, which has been altered since the initial allocation policy adopted in 2018 and presented proposed amendments to the policy. The initial allocation policy was based on theory, while the current allocation practice and process is based on actual water allocation usage and methodology. The amended policy addresses actual water allocation practice, deletes or amends and adds new categories consistent with the updated 2023-2025 master distribution chart, and provides again a more user-friendly format to distribute and move water and sewer within the master distribution chart. These proposed revisions are again highlighted in the report and were supported by the ECDC. With that, staff is recommending that the Mayor and Common Council approve resolution number 2310, amending the adopted 2018 to 2024 water and sewer allocation policy and the accompanying master distribution chart as outlined in the report and providing attachment 1 of the report. If I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Depot. Let's get a motion. I have a motion to adopt resolution number 23-10.
President, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 23-10.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Hoff and a second by Mr. Kavachi. Any discussion or questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Hoff?
I just wanted to make a few comments. We have talked about this at length at Economic and Community Development Committee. And I think we put a lot of good, staff put a lot of good thought into this. I think the committee put a lot of good thought in this. One of the things that I think the council members that are on that committee wanted to achieve, as well as staff, was to kind of create a little bit more flexibility, be a little bit more business friendly. In the past, if we had to move around water, it would have to go to Economic and Community Development Committee and then come up to council. This way, we're creating a new separate body, but it doesn't have to work its way back up to council. So it should be a little bit more of a timely, more efficient process. So that's just the overall comments I wanted to make about it. I think we put a lot of good thought into it, and I'm very happy to kind of see this on the agenda for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clark?
I'd just like to add to Councilman Huff's comments. And a lot of it was done under his leadership, which is greatly appreciated. A lot of time and effort went into this. One thing I did want to note, and we really took this stance many years ago, but it even goes a little step further. Not that I think there's probably many folks listening that this would apply to, but we've gone even further in terms of allocating water, especially on the business side, to businesses that are inside or are willing to come inside of the city. So bottom line is that we're really showing a lot of, we really want businesses to be located inside city limits. If they want to have access to water, it's a limited resource. We have very little of it to give away. And what we do, we want to make sure we're taking care of the businesses, the business community inside the city of Westminster. So I just wanted to point that out, that this goes even, takes it even a little step further. And I think the committee felt that was very important. And I wanted to make sure that's highlighted to the entire council before we vote on it.
Mr. President.
Mayor Becker.
Before the vote, I just also wanted to point out, I want to say thanks to Director Depot, but also thank you to Andrea Gerhard, who is sort of the water guru on our staff, and we'll gladly talk to you about water allocations for several hours if you have the time. She's more than willing to do that. But this is a really complicated thing that we do within the city. And I know Councilmember Hoff and I sat down with Andrea one day and did a little bit of a deeper dive into the water allocation. And I just want to say thank you for that, and thank you for your incredible work on this.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, thank you. I add my thanks to the committee for working with the staff to put this together. It's very important responsibilities. We've said in the past, water allocation is something even as we move on to having water reuse and we'll have more water to work with. The water allocation is something that's been with us for definitely many years to come, if not always. And this is very important work, and I appreciate everybody's efforts at this behalf. Move on now to a vote. All those in favor of adoption of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Yes, seem to have the ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Next item is introduction of ordinance number 2023-07, art galleries / studios text amendment, the ordinance of the mayor and common council of Westminster, amending chapter 164, zoning and subdivision of land of the code of the city of Westminster, to attend article 8A C-C Central Commerce Zone, section 164-45.2, article 7B DB Downtown Business Zone, section 164-45.8, and article 9 CB Central Business Zone, section 164-47, to add art galleries / studios. And we'll go once again to Mr. Chief.
Thank you. Currently, art galleries and studios is a permitted use in the mixed use infill zone. Art galleries is a permitted use in the neighborhood commercial zone, and gallery is a permitted use in arts and culture overlay zone. On May 3rd, 2023, staff met with a prospective art gallery owner regarding operating an art gallery in the CB Central Business Zone. Staff unfortunately had to inform the owner that an art gallery is not allowed use in the CB Central Business Zone, but is allowed in the zoning districts as previously referenced. And it's important to note that, and again, it's always confusing with uses and where they're allowed, but if a use is specifically listed as an allowed use in the zoning ordinance, like art gallery, in a specific zone, that same use equally has to be listed in any zoning district to be allowed in that zoning district. And that was the case here, because it was specifically spelled out as an allowed use in one of those several other zones. So with that, in lieu of the art gallery owner submitting the text amendment, city administration and planning staff introduced the concept of amending the zoning ordinance to allow art galleries and studios in the downtown zoning districts of CC Central Commerce Zone, DB Downtown Business Zone, and CB Central Business Zone to the Economic and Community Development Committee, or ECDC, at its July 20th, 2023 meeting. The ECDC supported bringing a draft text amendment to the Mayor and Common Council to add the art galleries as a permitted use in these zones, the CC, DB, and CB zoning district. With that, staff believes that an art gallery use does not create an impact that is greater than other uses allowed in these zoning districts, and recommends that ordinance number 2023-07 as introduced for consideration to the Mayor and Common Council on August 28, 2023, be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and recommendation to the Mayor and Common Council. That completes my report. I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Depot. I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 2023-07.
So moved, Mr. President.
With a motion by Mr. Kavach, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Newman. Any discussion or questions?
Mr. President.
Mr. Hoff.
Yes, I just wanted to mention, we again talked about this in economic and community development. I commend staff for bringing it to our attention. Obviously, there's a desire to update our code, but that is a much more complicated task. It's certainly on our radar screen. But in the meantime, when we find issues like this and we can do a text amendment to address it, to again, kind of beating a dead horse with saying business friendly, but this makes things more business friendly. We had a property owner who wanted to do this particular use. Technically, it wasn't allowed. Common sense indicated that it should be allowed. And so we've taken action to rectify that situation. So again, I commend staff for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Hoff. Anyone else? And updating our code is more than just our limit. We budgeted for a consultant, and we're going to be moving forward with that in the near future because we're all anxious to see a number of things updated. Hearing no more comments, move on to a vote. All those in favor of the introduction, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. You guys seem to have it. The ayes have it. And the ordinance is introduced, and we'll bring it back at the next meeting. I think. Or just
We do have to go to planning and zoning first in late September, but immediately following that, I think we can get it into the Mayor and Common Council's second meeting in September. That's at least what we're looking to advertise for.
Very good. All right. Unfinished business. There's no unfinished business of which I'm aware. Does anybody have any unfinished business? There is none. We'll move on to new business. We have several items of new business. But first, the motion for approval of a good cause waiver under City of Westminster Code, Chapter 36, Procurement and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations. As a specified unusual circumstance exists warranting such waiver, and that the waiver will not impair the interest of transparency, fiscal responsibility, or good government for the replacement and installation of cameras from Hyperion Incorporated, $42,645.80. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. During this current year, the Information Technology and Recreation and Parks Departments have been in discussions to install additional cameras to monitor the city pool and fitness center. These additional cameras will add to our existing system to provide the ability to monitor each location for security and management purposes. In fiscal year 21, the city held an RFP process to add cameras to the city park and Locust Lane. Through that process, we chose the Bergdata camera platform installed by Hyperion Incorporated. The system has grown since that time and continues to perform efficiently and without complaints from all parties involved. For the additional cameras for the pool and fitness center, we are looking to continue the expansion of our current Bergdata camera platform and partner with Hyperion Incorporated for the installation of the hardware at a cost of $42,645.80. The technology department contacted Hyperion Incorporated again after working with them during the original project due to the low cost, quality workmanship, and support they have offered during and after project completion. The funds for this project will come from the following: $14,215.27 from the IT computer services budget, $14,250.27 from the Recreation and Parks Department, and $14,250.26 from the administration budget. No new funds are needed for this project, and all funds are in the existing FY24 budget. Staff recommends approval to waive competitive bidding for good calls under the City of Westminster Code, Chapter 36, Procurement and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations. As a specified unusual circumstance exists warranting such waiver, and that the waiver will not impair the interest of transparency, fiscal responsibility, or good government for the expansion of our current system and the installation of the additional cameras from Hyperion Incorporated for the quoted price of $42,645.80. That concludes my report. I'm open for any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moore. We have a motion to approve the good cause waiver.
Motion to approve.
The motion by Mr. Dayhoff. Is there a second?
Second.
second by Ms. Gilbert. Any questions or comments on this?
Mr. President.
Mr. Hop?
I just have a quick question just for clarity from a finance standpoint. This doesn't appear to be part of a capital, our capital budget or anything like that. It appears that we're just pulling out from general operating from these three departments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
This was not a planned item, which is why we put it under new business. Thank you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hop. Anyone else?
Mr. President,
Ms. Gilbert?
I just want to thank all of the departments that were involved in this. As Ms. Imhoff did remark, something did come up, and as often our interdepartments talk with each other, and one department says there's a problem and another department finds a solution. And I think this is a great example of how our departments work wonderfully together to come up with a solution. So hopefully we will cut down on some vandalism or potential vandalism with the cameras. And I just want to thank all of the departments for working all together.
Thank you. Anyone else? I just have a question. How would the cameras be monitored? Is it just sort of a tape that we go back and refer to if there's an incident, or are they monitored in real time?
So the cameras we currently have, it's a platform that the police have access to, and they record to an online platform that is secure, secure sign-in, and they're kept for X amount of time at high quality, and they can go and pull those tapes if they need you right from the web.
All right, thank you. All right, hearing no more questions or comments, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of approving the good cause waiver, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it, and the good cause waiver is approved. Thank you. The next item is approval to waive competitive bidding for good cause under City of Westminster Code, Chapter 36, Procurements and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations. As a specified unusual circumstance exists warranting such waiver, and that the waiver will not impair the interest of transparency, fiscal responsibility, or good government for purchase and installation of a fence with CCC Fence Incorporated in the amount of $35,880. Ms. Imhoff?
The fence surrounding the property at the utility maintenance building has been in service for 20+ years. There are several locations where the fence is falling off the pole and is rusting. Both gates are in poor operating conditions as well. The integrity of the fence is important to protect the city's investment in both equipment and materials. The Mayor and Common Council approved $36,000 in the fiscal year 24 capital budget for the replacement of this fence. Staff has received quotes from the following companies: Abbey Fence, Deck Company, CC Fence Inc., and Frederick Fence Company. CC Fence Inc. came in under budget with a total of $35,880, and their proposal would cover all of the city's needs. Due to the fact that the city has had projects completed by CC Fence Inc., such as a fence at the water treatment plant, and that our fence is in poor shape and in immediate need of repair, staff requests that the Mayor and Council approve waiving competitive bidding requirements for this project. The current sewer capital budget contains funding for the project in the amount of $36,000. Staff recommends approval to waive competitive bidding for good cause under City of Westminster Code, Chapter 36, Procurement and Contracts, subsection 36-4, specific regulations, as a specified unusual circumstance exists, warranting such waiver, and that the waiver will not impair the interest of transparency, fiscal government, or fiscal responsibility, or good government for the replacement of a fence by CC Fence Inc. for the quoted price of $35,880.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the waiver of competitive bidding?
Motion to approve.
Been a motion by Mr. Dayhoff. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hoff. Any questions or comments on this?
Mr. President,
Mr. Hoff?
I guess I'm a little confused because when I saw this on the agenda before I read down into it, first thing I thought was, why in the world would we not be competitively bidding a fence? That's not something that's very unique like the camera system where it needs to integrate with the rest of them. But then when I read the description, you talk about the fact that we got bids from 3 different places. So I'm unclear as to why it's coming under good cause waiver and not just a competitively bid project.
The city received, did I say bids? The city received proposals or quotes from 3 companies.
Okay.
This was a planned project. It's in the budget already, but I'm told that there's an urgency now that wasn't there when we put it together before. And we are concerned about the timing of putting the fence up. This particular property has a lot of equipment. And
I'm not questioning veracity or whether we need the fence or not.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is it seems like we did get bids.
we didn't get bids. Bids are a very specific term in the code, meaning that we go out to the market, we put forward a request for proposal or request for bids, posted on Maryland Marketplace. Those are submitted in a sealed way. They have to complete a specific set of forms exactly as indicated. What we received were quotes, estimates that we asked multiple fencing companies because of the urgency of it. The bidding process takes a lot longer than waiving the bidding process.
I see that the quotes were substantially the same. One was, you know, a couple $100 between the two lowest bidders, and the other was about $1,000.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, Mr. Kabaki.
And the urgency is, again, I don't doubt that we need it, but the urgency is what, that it's just not secure at this time and.
Yeah, so the conditions on the site have changed. The fence is now almost literally falling over at this point, and we're concerned about the protecting the equipment that's on site.
Well, it's not a lot of money, so I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it, but we have a bidding process for a purpose, and in general, I think we should be following it. Email Marketplace certainly could bring in a significant larger quantity of potential vendors that might be able to do this at a lower cost than even what we're getting here. Although CCC, I do like the fact they're a local company. So I'll just shut up at this point. We'll move on.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kabaki. I think point was made. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, move on to a vote. All those in favor of approving the waiver of competitive bidding, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Yeah, I seem to have the ayes have it, and motion approved. Our next item is approval of a sole source purchase of the solar powered rectangular rapid flashing beacon crosswalk with pedestrian lighting from TAPCO from Brown Deer, Wisconsin, in the total amount of $113,140.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the FY 22 and FY 23 years, the city received grants under Community Safety Works from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. The grant amounts awarded are FY 2022 for $98,973 and FY 2023 for $88,250 for a total of $187,223. City staff have identified 14 crosswalks that we would like to upgrade to solar-powered rectangular rapid flashing beacon crosswalks with pedestrian lighting. These 14 crosswalks are located on East Main Street, Route 27 to Washington Road, West Main Street, PA Avenue to Union Street, and Pennsylvania Avenue from West Main to Monroe Street. TAPCO is a sole manufacturer of the TAPCO RRFB XL2 crosswalk system with pedestrian lighting. These crosswalk systems follow MUTCD guidelines and FHWA requirements. This will be a sole source purchase if approved by Mayor and Common Council, which is allowed by the Westminster Procurement Code. The FY 24 total remaining budget for this project is $151,350 after our safety items were purchased. Some other safety items were purchased. Staff recommends that the Mayor and Common Council authorize the sole source purchase of the solar powered rectangular rapid flashing beacons, RRFB, crosswalks with pedestrian lighting from TAPCO Inc. from Brown Deer, Wisconsin, the total amount of $113,140.
Right.
Any questions?
All right, thank you, Mr. Dick. I have a motion to approve the sole source purchase.
Motion to approve.
The motion by Mr. Dayhoff, is there a second?
I'll second.
The second by Ms. Gilbert. Any questions or comments on this?
Mr. President.
We'll go defer to the mayor.
Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Dick. So it says in the memo that there have been 14 crosswalks identified. Is this planned for all 14
Yes.
of those crosswalks? Are there additional crosswalks then that the city thinks they would like to have these out, or does this really take care of?
So when we started this project, we concentrated on the main bridge at West Main, East Main, Pennsylvania Avenue. So these would cover all the major crossings across those.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Ms. Imhoff.
to further answer the mayor's question, staff focused on the grant amount that was available, not the larger discussion of crosswalks in the city. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gavachi.
So it's kind of the same vein. I understand that the only company that manufactures the TAPCO lighting system, but it obviously performs a function where it's signed, it's lit up. Does it provide lighting to the crosswalk itself, down on the ground? Is this the only company in the country that manufactures a light, a sign that has the light and it shines light on the ground? It's the only one in the country. No question. There's no way I can get on Google and start doing research about it.
You'll be confident. You'll be a better Googler than I am. So I have not found another company. Plenty of companies make the rectangular beacon system.
Sure.
It is a pedestrian cross light that nobody else is doing.
It's shining the light down onto the crosswalk, and it does it with solar power. Man, I really don't like sole sourcing stuff. If you're doing more than
Okay.
Mr. President.
Mr. Hawk.
I just would like a little brief description that I looked through the stuff and I did not read it in depth. How is this going to work? Does the light stay on the crosswalk only when someone's coming through?
So there's a push button. You'll walk up to it, when you hit the button, it communicates to the other side as well. The rectangular flashing beacons turn on and the light comes on and flashing down, shining on the crosswalk itself.
And this does this at whenever it's dark, obviously.
Well, if somebody walks up during the day and pushes it,
it will still do.
It's going to flash and beep.
So you have to push the button, but the idea is that it makes it more visible for pedestrian safety, less likely someone blows through that crosswalk and hits somebody.
Right.
Okay, so but it's activated by the person having to push it. Okay, thank you. That's what I was looking for. Clarity. So it flashes, those lights flash as well as it puts light down onto the crosswalk itself.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President.
Ms. Gilbert.
Mr. Dick, I have a question. Along with installing these wonderfully bright assistant devices for our walkers and pedestrians, are we going to engage into a campaign or an educational, an educational campaign about pedestrian safety, not only to educate our folks that are walking the street that, oh, this light doesn't automatically, pop on. You actually have to push the button, but also our drivers. I think the combination of the two will help in keeping our pedestrians safer and encouraging.
That is definitely something we can look into.
Mr. President,
Ms. Imhoff.
the police department has been working on this for a year and a half, maybe. We've been putting mostly utilizing the newsletter as a source of information to find out. But we can use that to reignite that campaign as well when these are implemented.
Yeah, I think just for the fact that there is a button to push to cross at dark is going to be one of those things people are going to say, oh, these are great, but the light's not working. And they're not going to really realize that you have to push the button to get the crosswalk to load up. So I think it'll, in combination with the money spent and the new crosswalks being lit up, I just think it'll be a great combination. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Hawk, Mr. Dayhoff.
Years ago, we had handbills that we handed out. Maybe we still have some of those, or we can still do similar programs to that.
You probably got it in your basement.
I probably do. I probably do. Mr. Dick, can we, I was looking at the numbers and do we have any money left over? Can we add some crosswalks? I mean, I want to tag along with what the mayor, I think what the mayor's direction. Well, I looked at, in full disclosure, I'm on the council of Grace Lutheran Church, and we looked into giving a sign that's like the sign that's at the McDaniel crosswalk. And to help perhaps answer Mr. Kavachi's question, I'm a huge supporter of competitive bidding also, but I had a hard time finding companies that did this.
Well, there's a bunch, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. No, go ahead.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. The question I had, there's a lot of companies that make them that blink.
Okay.
It's the projections of the light onto the crosswalk that illuminates where people are walking. It seems to make this one unique, if I'm not mistaken. Nice. So, but they're definitely, you can get much cheaper ones that just blink.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, but Mr. President, we first discussed this at the library crosswalk because it's a little dark, and we're really excited about doing this. But I wonder if we can add some crosswalks down the road. Is there any money left over?
So as you can see, there is some money left there
That's what I thought.
is for actual crosswalk patterns that we put down. That was also part of the grant money that we got. It was specified for the enhancement of crosswalks, not just the lighting of crosswalks.
Oh, okay. So, well, and I think that's important also. I mean, I've even seen some really innovative ideas where the crosswalks themselves, they light up. But anything we can do, I'm with Councilwoman Gilbert. We really need to continue that program. Years ago, people would stop, but nowadays people don't want to stop there. So that's all my question, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else? I think everybody's weighed in on this. Ms. Imhoff.
Yeah, I just want to give a little bit more context. The initial grant that we put together included lighting for crosswalks. And, you know, we've had this conversation when we talk about holiday lights. We are a little boxed in as far as what electricity is available. So this option, and once you submit a grant, you have to do what you said you'd do in the grant.
Right.
You don't generally always love it when you ask to kind of pivot a little bit. And so this solution was one that Mr. Dick found out as I think it probably in cooperation with other staff, but I think it was led by Mr. Dick to solve that problem of delivering light as well as delivering the crosswalk improvements. So this, you know, is one-stop shop kind of thing in order to meet all those goals.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. All right, I think we're ready for the vote. All those in favor of approving the sole source purchase, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have the ayes have it, and the sole source purchase is approved. Now we'll circle back to the item we pulled off the consent calendar, which is the sole source purchase of a remote controlled slope mower for the street. Ms. Imhoff or Mr. Beck?
I'll take it. The city's adopted fiscal year 24 general fund budget allocates funding for the purchase of a remote controlled slope mower. The slope mower being purchased is a 60-inch RC mower that meets all specs that we require. By purchasing this mower, we will be able to complete the mowing of stormwater ponds in a safer and more acceptable time frame. This mower is sold by Crownstone Equipment through the Bobcat Company. Bobcat is the only distributor of RC mowers on the East Coast. This will be a sole source purchase if approved by Mayor and Common Council. By sole sourcing this equipment, it will be compatible with our current mower and prevent us from needing to carry different replacement parts and maintenance costs. The total cost for the new 60-inch slope mower is different than what the agenda says. It's $66,950 from Bobcat of Frederick. The fiscal year 24 budget for this project is $66,950. Staff recommends that the Mayor and Common Council authorize the sole source purchase of the RC mower, slope mower from Bobcat of Frederick for the total cost of $66,950.
Thank you, Ms. Imhoff. I have a motion to approve the sole source purchase.
I'll make that motion for the purposes of discussion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
Second.
The second by Ms. Gilbert. Okay, discussion, Mr. Raji.
So I'm the one who asked for this be pulled out of the consent calendar. Of course, I'm probably never going to get my brush and leaves picked up at my house again for this meeting. I'm loaded into the best of it. All seriousness, the reason I asked for it to be pulled off is I knew this sounded very familiar. So I went back and did some research, and it looks like we purchased one of these 2.5 years ago. I'm looking at the minutes from October of 20, but it looks like we maybe bought it early that following year for the purchase of a remote controlled slope mower. Now, it doesn't say what size it is, but it looks like it's the same thing that we bought 2.5 years ago. So I guess two questions. One, did we actually buy it? Because we approved it, but I don't know that it was actually purchased. It was $57,950 on October 28th of 2020. We had 2 bids in that meeting, but from what I can tell, it looks like it's the same thing.
Well, it looks as if, from what November said, that we did purchase one for, and this is, be compatible with the current that we have already.
Right. So we need 2 of them?
Yes. The amount of time, just buying the first one, the improvements we've seen with getting storm ponds done, because one, the safety of the slope of the storm ponds was the biggest reason we really wanted the first one. Now we've had it for 2 years and seen the performance of it. To have another one means we can get all the storm ponds moved in a lot faster manner and safer manner. And, instead of having 2 or 3 different, so the 2 bids we got, I believe they were actually 2 different type of units as well. They weren't exactly the same RC mower.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. I just didn't understand why we were buying another one 2.5 years later, but you're saying that it's going to make it a lot more efficient. And it's not that this one, because I'm thinking if this thing's worn out, or I wasn't really sure why we were buying another one 2.5 years later. What you're saying makes sense to me. So I'm good, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Raji. And this was something that we budgeted for. We did discuss it as we were going through the budget process.
Yeah, so during that budget process, multiple divisions of Public Works came forward asking for this mower as well. And we put them at bay saying, we'll just get one, keep it in the Streets Department. Streets Department will cover other divisions in the Public Works Department as needed. So this came from multiple divisions within the department, not just the Streets Department.
Then we'll have 2 in the Streets Department.
Yeah, and then they will, it's all one city, it's all one department, so they won't share, actually, they'll send staff over to do it since it's kind of a trained thing, but they're going over to take care of the mowing at other buildings.
And I didn't see Dennis, our Estonian friends were here. I saw it demonstrated over the street department. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
And you got a slope lawn.
I got a slope lawn,
but now you can't use it.
Yeah, they're never going to let me do it.
Was also in the Miracle on Main Street parade.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Now we can have 2 of them.
Now we have 2 of them. All right. And
If you're really nice, Tony, maybe he'll let you operate the mower.
I guess it's dangerous. It's dangerous when Mr. Kavachi and I are thinking along the same lines, but I also looked it up. And I just wanted to make sure that it's the same unit, so that the parts are interchangeable and the maintenance could be done. That's what I looked up. That's why I asked for it to be introduced with discussion. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Hearing no further discussion. No further discussion. Move on to a vote. All those in favor of approving the sole source purchase, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes have it. And the purchase is approved. One more item. We're introducing on a new business, which we could wait, but since I will not be at the next meeting, I'll put this out there. In accordance with the adoption of the resolution earlier this evening, with the ordinance earlier this evening allowing, the appointment of a standing committee of the legislative body to act on applications for water and wastewater allocations. I hereby appoint, Mr. Huff, being the chair, and Mr. Kravati to be the vice chair, and of course, the mayor is always welcome to speak in these discussions. I ask for approval of, those.
Just to clarify, was there a title to that group?
It's the water allocation committee, standing thing, something like that. It's in the resolution, whatever the formal title. We'll trust Mr. Robert to look that up.
You need a motion.
I need a motion to approve.
Is it in there?
I make that motion.
I'm looking for it.
Motion by Mr. Bell, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gilbert. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Yes, you guys have it. Committee's appointed. Mr. Kravati, I believe you have a motion.
I do. I'd like to move that the common council adjourn into a closed meeting at the conclusion of the mayor and common council meeting on Monday, May 28th, 2023. I'm sorry, August. Thank you, Mr. President. In accordance with the general provisions article of the annotated code of Maryland 3-305 subsection B subsection 1 to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matters that affect one or more specific individuals.
Thank you, Mr. Kravati. Is there a second?
Second, I'll make a second.
Second by Mr. Huff. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. And we will go into the closed meeting at the conclusion of the regular meeting. Time now for departmental reports. Ms. Imhoff.
Councilmember Dayhoff, do you have a fire department report?
Go, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We will be brief in our reports. I'd like to start with the Recreation and Parks Committee.
Yes, good evening. We have 7 operational pool days until we close for the season. So although it's a bittersweet moment, we will be spending some extra time this season post Labor Day learning how to appropriately winterize and close our brand new pools so that we can make sure that we protect the city's investment. So that will take some time from the streets department staff and my staff to really roll our sleeves up there and make sure that we're doing that appropriately and correctly. So the only other thing that I'll report on tonight that wasn't reported on by Councilwoman Gilbert, just touched on briefly, we are busily getting ready for Fall Fest, which is September 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. We kick off with a parade, which is turning out to be a really great event. We have a lot of applications in, and we're super excited for that. We do have our VIP fire pit experience running on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. We are sold out of our fire pits for Friday night when we are hosting the Reagan Years in City Park. So things are bustling as far as Fall Fest is concerned, and we are incredibly excited to bring that sought after event back to this community for our 43rd year, 44th year, 43rd or 44th. It's up in the air. There's some disagreement in the record books. So that concludes my report unless there's any questions.
Are there any questions for the Recreation Department?
Mr. Dale.
We want to complete the Kavachi umbrellas this fall at the pool.
So status report
Don't let it hurt.
on phase 2 of the pool project. Yes, we are on schedule and on budget, and part of that project does include the funbrellas, which are the shade structures that will protect our smaller swimmers in the splash pad and lagoon area of the Westminster Municipal Pool.
They'll be completed this fall.
Yes.
Cool. Thank you, Mr. President. Don't let him hurt me.
I'm not responsible.
We can close the meeting at this meeting time. It's gonna be a closed arena. Thanks.
I did want to take a moment to thank the Recreation and Parks Department. While the rest of us are enjoying the summer and taking time off, they are working nonstop every single day. Councilmember Gilbert mentioned all of the kids that are in summer camp. But we've also had rec and park months in the month of June. Endless events. They were involved in the kindness stroll. So thank you so much for your dedication to the city and your department's dedication to the city. We will hopefully you enjoy some time in the winter when there's not as much going on. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the Public Works Department. Mr. Dick.
Thank you, Mr. Moles. Hopefully this is the last time I have to mention this because I think we're wrapping up with removing all the rock and debris from the storm from August 7th. Last week we were finishing up on a lot of our trails and stuff. We saved that to last. We made sure they were open, but a lot of debris on the sides of the trails and things like that. So we feel that we're pretty much caught up on that now, and hopefully don't have to deal with that for a while again. Having mentioned we're starting to help out with Fall Fest prep. We started prepping equipment for leaf removal for some people. For some people. We will make sure that we get every resident.
And I probably put the most out of it.
Other than that, the boilers are going in at 45 new boilers. They had to get a custom plate made for the top, so hoping that they finish it up hopefully by next week. Other than that, we talked about the Main Street project. Last week, Melissa Thorne from planning and myself walked around to all the businesses in the affected area and just outside the affected area, handed out flyers and answered any questions in person that we could at that time. And the last thing I'd like to mention, which surprised me today, to a certain extent, clock faces are going on the clock tower. They look pretty good from the angle that I saw them at today. So they're on schedule, and they have a permit in for the September 5th and 6th for the crane to come in and take the heavy I-beams and stuff down from the top of the scaffolding. And then over the course of the next week and a half after that, they'll be completely finished. That's the end of my report. Unless there's any questions.
Mr. Malta, one. When do you think the bell is going to start ringing again? My neighbors are browbeating me about it. Everybody wants the bell to start ringing.
I do not know that answer right off the top.
All right. I'll keep telling them it's soon.
Someone send us an email.
Yes.
I will admit, I even pay attention to it.
Are there any questions for the Public Works Department?
Ms. Emmons.
Sir.
I walked again on the Wakefield Valley Trail the other day, and that was just a super job renovating that portion of the trail. It's just simply a great job, and I really appreciate it. The trail's always been really important, and I know the street department takes a lot of pride in keeping it looking good. So thank you very much. That's great.
Any other questions for the police department? Thank you, sir. All right, hearing none, we will move on to the housing department. Mr. Brown?
Nothing to report this week.
Okay, it's been working hard this summer, making sure that our code enforcement department is moving along and getting all the rental licenses moving forward. Are there any questions for the housing department? Hearing none, we'll move on to the finance department. Ms. Rogers, hello.
Thank you. Good evening. No report tonight.
Okay, any questions? No. Let's keep going around. Mr. Deepa.
I do have a report. I apologize. It's going really well for a second. On September 5th, the Board of Zoning Appeals is scheduled to hear a special exception to add a home occupation use at 231 Stacy Lee Drive, and also a special exception for a conversion dwelling subject to requirements of section 16450 at 160 West Main Street. On September 6th, the Historic District Commission is tentatively scheduled to discuss ongoing planning of the nation's 250th anniversary, as well as a post-construction application for historic rehabilitation property tax credit for 72 West Green Street. So post-construction means it's been completed. Now they're back before the Historic District to ensure that they did what was intended to occur. On September 21st, Planning and Zoning Commission is tentatively scheduled to hear the Cannabis Overlay Map Amendment Ordinance 2023-06 and the Art Gallery Studio Text Amendment Ordinance 2023-07. And that completes my report.
All I want to take a moment to thank the planning director and his staff. They are the ones that submitted the grant application for the pedestrian lighting that we just talked about tonight. So that grant came through the planning department. They applied for it, they received it, applied for another one and received it. To Ms. Gilbert's point, this is an example of how the departments are all working together. But I want to take a moment to thank you for your leadership on that. We like to use other people's money to get things done around here. All right, we'll move on to the IT department. Director Moore.
Thank you, Ms. Moss. Going to keep it very brief. Help desk wise, we've been another very busy month for us. Finish of August here next week, unbelievably. We continue some cybersecurity initiatives and continue to audit our processes and procedures and try to improve where we can. If you have any questions, I'll move to questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Moore? Hearing none, we will wrap things up with the police department and Chief Ledwell.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to mention two good jobs by our patrol officers. The first was involving the arrest of two female suspects for a residential burglary. The two suspects went into an occupied residence, stole a ATM card. We were able to apprehend them moments later. We were able to find video of them trying to use the ATM card and recover the card where they discarded it. So they did a great job on that and wrapped it up. The second was this afternoon. Regionally and nationally, organized shoplifting at some of the big box stores has become a significant problem to the point where, there's some proposed legislation at the state level going around right now as far as like information sharing and strategizing. And our patrol officers apprehended a group this afternoon at the Target. We were able to link them to several other significant crimes. So I know when I left, our detectives were working with the patrol officers to do some debrief interviews. So I just wanted to bring those to them. And that's all I have unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions for the police chief? Thank you, sir. Mr. President, that concludes the departmental reports.
All right, thank you, Ms. Olson. Good job, Chief. Please, that's perfect. Thank you for the officer. All right, well, I think it's not hard to tell them this is the last meeting of the summer. Silly season is ending, so we'll get back to being more serious next week. The final item on our agenda is citizens' comments, where we invite the public to address the mayor and council on any issues that pertain to tonight's agenda or any other city issues. For citizens not attending the public meeting, we invite you to send us your comments or concerns via email at comments@westminstermd.gov. All comments received by email will be shared with the mayor and council. We ask that commenters please include their address and phone number with their comments. We'll now invite comments from anyone who is present this evening. Ask anybody who wishes to comment to please give us your name and address for the record. Anybody wish to be heard this evening? Okay. In that case, that concludes our agenda and the meeting. Our next meeting will be Monday, November 11th. And with that, without objection, we are adjourned.